Hey everyone, welcome back to West Coast Mopars. This is the 55 Oldsmobile Super 88. You guys, if you watched part 1, you'll see that I got the car. I won't get into the full story, but give a quick backstory. It was purchased by a young guy and his dad, I believe. I don't know how many years ago, 5, 6, 7 maybe. But as far as I know, it was a running car. The young guy had the engine rebuilt and he put it back in the car, but he never actually finished. Like, he didn't hook the engine up, he didn't bolt it down to the K-frame. But I got the car. I basically just went through it. I had to get all the linkages back together, put the carb on, distributor. I ended up buying a parts car, which, here, I'll quickly walk over there, show you guys the parts car. So this is the parts car here. I got this from my buddy Joe, and it is identical. It is a 55 old Super 88, also with the 324, and I've already grabbed a whole bunch of parts from this thing to make the other one work. So that's the parts car. But back to the better one. This is it here. So the end of the last video, I got it running. It does move. The transmission seems to drive in neutral, so I'm hoping that's just the clutches are new, or he mentioned the transmission had been serviced, but he didn't know exactly what had been done. So if it's just new clutches and they're not broken in yet, I don't know. Anyways, it moves in neutral. Let's just say that much. I don't love it. Like, it drives in neutral. I'm not just saying it rolls a little bit. It picks up speed, and there's no brakes. so you can't throw it neutral to stop rolling. So I'm not quite sure. I'll have to dig into that a little bit. But anyways, I thought I would just start off by pressure washing the car here. There's probably, I don't know, 20 years of grime on it. It was parked up in Sayward, Campbell, just north of Campbell River, and so wet climate, lots of rain. I thought we'd clean it up, see what it really looks like. He sent me some pictures of when I think when he first bought it, and it was a nice car. Paint was all shiny, looked really good. Unfortunately, he got a little, I'm sure he's watching this, so sorry man, but he got a little crazy with the screwdriver and started peeling up the paint and whatever filler was in the door. So it looks like this door was hit, and then they put filler over it. And yeah, maybe the filler would have cracked, and who knows, but to go gung-ho and crazy and start chipping everything out, I mean, now we really got to deal with it, right? It's like, I would have just left it alone, honestly. So there's this is too bad. The rockers are the same, rockers on the other side are the same. And they don't have the skirts, and the parts car doesn't have the skirts, so they might just live without the skirts. Okay, I just sprayed it with the pressure washer, but my pressure washer kind of sucks. It's old. I left it out in the rain too many times. So it didn't get, if you look up close, it didn't get all this, just a bunch of spots that are just too hard for it, I guess. It's just a little electric guy. But I use these SOS pads. These are the blue ones with the soap in them. And if you just sort of come along after and scrub, they're really, really fine steel wool, so they're not going to hurt the paint. And you just scrub, and it gets rid of stuff like those lines there. So then later when you come back and rinse this off again, or spray it down with the pressure washer again, all that extra gunk is gone. You can sort of, I don't know if you can tell under the camera there, but here's where I haven't done, right? Full of stuff. Here's the side I've been scrubbing down. So yeah, once I get it sprayed down again, after going over it with this steel wool, it'll clean up pretty good. Okay, well, it's still wet, so it probably looks pretty good. I've only sort of gone over it once with the steel wool and just on the driver's side here. But you can see, I mean, it's got potential. You can see what it probably looked like before. It's still got a bunch of grime in the doors and stuff when you get up close, but in the roof, I barely got to the roof. Sort of got, I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but there's still a bunch of grime on there. I mean, this would take a serious cleaning. I'm probably just going to go over it once or twice with that steel wool and call it good. The hood I haven't gotten it with the steel wool there. Really, I just got the driver's side and just a quick scuff, but it's sure cleaning up pretty good. You can sort of see what it's supposed to look like. Got that sort of turquoise with the white two-tone. But check this out, this is super cool. So I left the battery hooked up for the last few days, and I opened the door and I could hear this clicking. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but the clock's working. That thing said like 3:40 last time I left it there. Last time I looked. Man, that's cool. This clock has never, maybe it was rebuilt, I don't know. I've never had an old car with a working clock. That is unbelievable. This thing sat neglected for who knows how long. And what a cool, that's so cool. I can't believe it. But yeah, here's another look at the dash. A neat dash in this thing. Steering wheel's in really nice shape. It's really got potential. The oil pressure gauge works great. The fuel gauge just pegs full. I think the wire must be grounded somewhere. It's reading 47,000 miles. Now there's some stickers, I'll show you in a second here in the door jamb, that those might actually be true. I don't know. In the glove box here, somebody's put an AM radio with an 8-track in here. There's where your 8-track goes. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I'll keep it in here. It'd be nice to have it in a glove box, so I might, the parts car's got a good glove box liner. I might put that back in. And here's the back of the car. Again, it's missing the seats. It's missing lots. Headliner's gone. This whole package tray thing is gone. I believe that's the old washer bottle there. But yeah, I'll show you those stickers here. So in the door here are these old Texaco stickers. I guess oil changes, or what's that one say? Wheel bearings packed, differential change, transmission. But it says 1974 on the top corner, and the mileage is 47,015. So this says 47,565. And if you look at the pedals, you know that old trick, look at the brake pedal. It's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and suggest that could be original mileage. That 47,015. That was 1974. We're only 500 miles ahead of that. So that's pretty cool. Oh, here's the dog. What do you want? I got took the wheel off. Took the hub off. It's got those old the ball bearings with the centering. Okay, Reggie, come on, you're too much. Back up. It's got these old bearings with the centering, the little centering. I don't know what you call it. Anyways, it goes in the center, the balls fall out. I don't know. I work on Mopars, guys. I don't know what those are. But anyways, it's got those bearings. It looks like the kid told me he did all the brakes, and that is the case. He did do the brakes, new shoes, hardware, but unfortunately, he put brake fluid in the master, and I'm assuming he bled the brakes, but it sat all those years. So when you pull back on the rubber here, It is leaking. Look at that, pouring out of there. So the wheel cylinders are definitely leaking. Now I don't know, I feel like I looked into these and I was having a hard time finding wheel cylinders for some reason. So I may just pull them out, pull them apart, run I've got that honing kit for wheel cylinders. It's sort of like the stones you use when you hone a cylinder in your engine, but you just run it through the wheel cylinder and clean it up. It's probably just got a little bit of rust down on the end and the seal can't mate to the wheel cylinder. So I'll try pulling them out, run the thing through them, put them back together, hopefully they hold. Otherwise I got to try and find wheel cylinders, but that is the first step. Next will be check the master. Really hope the master's okay. It's under the floor and hard to get to, and it's a weird design. It's not like I can just replace it with something else. Alright, I got that one out, front driver's side, and there you can see the one end's full of fluid. The other one's got a little bit. When you look inside, look at that. I don't know if the camera will focus very well. Right on the edge, the piston's actually quite a ways down on this side, but right, it's all crusty. It's full of rust right there. And look at this side, all along the edge here, it's all rust. I can push it in. It still moves. That's good. It's not rusted. It's pushing fluid out the other side. But, I mean, it's rusted. It's not just rusted shut, though. And the nipple there, the bleeder, is a bit rusty. But what you do is you pull these pistons out. I'll show you here. Once you get them out, there's a spring inside there. And there's two rubber cups. They go behind the pistons. And those cups are what seal it. And so the fluid's actually leaking past the cups. You don't want that. You just want the cups to be pushed out. They're the seals, right? They go out and in. And here it is all taken apart. Here's the cups. So the cups actually look pretty good. They don't have too much, sometimes the rust will build up on the cups. They look alright. Here's the little pistons on the end. This is what the actual pin for the wheel cylinders sits in there. They've got a little bit of rust on the edges, but I'm going to see how well they clean up. And here's the spring for the center. And then inside, I don't know how well it'll show, but there is definitely a little bit of rust there. So that's definitely what's happening. The fluid is leaking past that rust because it can't make a good seal. So I'll just clean it up. Okay, and just excuse the absolute mess of a workbench here. I keep telling myself I'm going to clean up and then I don't, but it's getting bad. Stuff all over the floor. The biggest problem, I'm getting sidetracked here, is I bought these 3 Hemis from a guy down in Duncan. That's a 331 Chrysler. This is a 331. They're both long bells. And then that's a short bell 354. It's been punched out 30 over. I got all the pistons and stuff here. Anyways, but this stuff all has to go over there behind the Royal, and then I got a little Valiant coming to fix, and meanwhile I want to get the brakes done on that Olds outside. So anyways, I'm sure you guys are in the same predicament as me with too much crap on your plate. Oh, and I work full time, but but yeah, just ignore the bench. One day I will clean this up. So anyways, wheel cylinder. You just want to spritz it with something like, I've got brake clean here, just something to give it, so you're not just cutting dry there. This can's pretty much empty, but. And then I got the stones here on the drill. Just sort of put it in there. I run it on high speed, but. And yeah, take a look inside there. Nice and clean. Look at that. Look at that. That was full of rust. So, nice quick hone. You don't want to go too much because you don't want to go so much that that the seals don't seal anymore, right? If you go too much, then you've just taken too much material off. Okay, I'm just cleaning up the parts here. Got these are the steel cups going the ends. Got those cleaned up. You don't want to put them back with anything on them, even if it just looks like clean fluid. You don't want to risk any other rust or debris being on there. Cleaning up the rubber cups here, and it's important, you want to pour like some brake fluid in here, something to lubricate these cups as they go in. You don't want them going in dry, so just want to pour a little bit of brake fluid in there, sort of lube up the walls. that's it. Put it back together, and we'll put it back in the car. Alright, and then on the passenger side, rear, the wheel cylinder is just disgusting. I took it off already. I'll show you the driver's side when I get it off. I'm sure it'll be the same, but really, really rusty inside. I don't know if it's salvageable. I did hone it out as well. It kind of cleaned up, but definitely not a new wheel cylinder. Springs are old, shoes are old. The drum, I don't even think I'm gonna turn it. I'm just gonna quickly clean it up with the wire wheel. I just want to get this back together. I'll do the driver's side. Fronts are done. And then hopefully we can put some brake fluid in that master cylinder and it'll actually hold. The way it's been going, I'll probably have to pull the master off and clean it out as well, but hopefully it will hold. So then here we open up driver's side, and this one, the shoes actually look a little better than the passenger side did. They're obviously still old, but this wheel cylinder, other than the little bit of rust on the top there, it's actually pretty good. And I popped the caps back. This side looks pretty good actually. This side is leaking a little tiny bit, so I'll still pull it out, do the same thing, hone it out, but for some reason the passenger side never got changed. It's definitely old, original, very crusty, or was crusty, less crusty now. And then while I'm under here, I'm going to try and figure out what's going on with this. I think this is the line for the fuel gauge, I think. The sending unit wire, and the gauge just goes full, so usually that means the wire's grounded. When you ground the wire, you get gauge pegged to full. That's a good way to test if they work in the dash. However, I don't want it to do it all the time. It'll end up burning the gauge out, but so maybe we can figure out that while we're under here. Well, I ended up getting the master cylinder out, which was an absolute pain. I mean, like the theme of this car, but it's just good because it leaked. It was leaking out the back where the push rod goes in for the pedal. But I had to take the whole pedal assembly out of the floor. Like end up taking that plate out of the floor under the steering column there, just to get this rod was like jammed in the end of the master, and this stupid pin that's supposed to just come out with a cotter pin in it, it seized in there. So everything is old and seized and miserable. So I'm I'm only laughing to keep my sanity because I'm getting pretty fed up with this thing. But hopefully I can pull this apart, save it. You know, I didn't even want to pull it out, but the cap is like rusted into the master, and there's no way to get to the cap from above because this cap is directly below the steering column. So there's no, and it's square, right? So you just put the end of your wrench on it, but of course nothing fits in there. Anyways, I'm rambling on, but yeah, hopefully I can save this thing because it's definitely unique. I pulled it apart, and yeah, the cups inside, the sealing cups, everything was just gummy and gross. So I just cleaned it out. I did the same thing. I honed it with that tool, and seems to be holding. I put fluid in it. It basically bench bled itself here, installed in the car. And I've just taken, what I've done is taken this plate out of the floor, and I've just got my jack handle here pushed against the seat to hold the pedal down. There's basically no pressure on it right now, but there's still air in the system. But I do have, it is holding pressure because I just cracked the rear bleeder and it made the sound of air coming out, which is excellent news. That means that it's holding up here at the master. So I think it's savable, which is awesome. Because it's a weird one. I did look them up. Last time I was on Rock Auto, there's nothing. eBay, I think they're like 400 bucks on eBay. So not looking promising to get a reman. Alright, and I pulled the rear bumper off because it's all twisted. Because somebody put a chain through this little hitch, and the hitch, it goes right through the bumper. It's not a good design. It doesn't go to the frame at all. So the bumper's twisted. This top piece has a pretty good dent here, and it's pretty banged up underneath. It's not the nicest thing. So the one on the parts car, it's much straighter. I just pulled it off here. This top piece, it's got some surface rust, but I could probably sand that out with like really fine steel wool. It works well on chrome if you guys haven't done that. It's like I think it's the Quad Zero. Don't get the really scratchy stuff you use on your dishes, but get the really fine stuff. It works well. I'll give that a try. I might change this one piece if I can get it off here. This one's pretty nice. This one's got a little bit of rust on the front there, but I'm not overly concerned. I mean, whoever buys the car, they can have both bumpers. I don't care. Maybe they'll want to do it. But it looks like, well, I might avoid it. I don't know. It looks pretty crusty in there. I don't really want to start breaking stuff trying to get it apart, so I might just leave it alone and sand this down and just put it on. I think that's my plan here. Alright, I went out to my my buddy Joe's yesterday looking for some hubcaps for this thing, because I had those other ones. They were Buick. Now, I did find these, but these are Cadillac. But this is probably the best of the 5 that I grabbed. But they're 15-inch, and I think they really suit the car. They give it a nice sort of clean up the side of it. You know, unless you're staring at it, you wouldn't know they're Cadillac, I don't think. But got those on, and I've just been messing around with the charging system. So I'd like this thing to actually charge the battery. Obviously that other generator's pooched. I do have this one. This is a Ford generator, but it should realistically do the same thing. It just has a field and a battery source. So I hooked it up. I tried polarizing it with the key on, but now I've run into another issue with the starter. So again, like I said, this car just constantly giving me grief. So just started jacking the car up. I was gonna pull the starter and pull the, it's got an external solenoid, so right here you can hear it clicking, and I know the battery's good. I just took it out of my tractor and it had 0 issues starting the tractor, so that's where I'm at now. So under the car I go, pull the starter, pull it apart. Maybe it just needs to be cleaned up. I think it's just that external solenoid. It's just sticky, I'm assuming. So hopefully that's the only issue. Okay, I finally got this out of the olds there. So I think what's happening is when I turn the key, this guy isn't moving. It's just stuck. And I mean, it's spring loaded. I can move it with my hand, but it's probably pulling the contacts closed when you crank the key. So I'll open this up. I am assuming this is the issue. The young guy said he did have it rebuilt, but I don't know. There's no tag on it from anybody rebuilding it. I don't know if he just opened it up and sort of cleaned it. Alright, I got the solenoid apart here. So this stud here is the one that would go through and to the starter. It's almost broken on the back. The stud's fine, but the wire, the little wire is just about to break off. So when I took the nut off this one, when you got the cap on there, here's what's left of the gasket that goes between, to isolate it, to not short it out against the metal parts. It's all melted. There's nothing left. So it's obviously been getting really hot, and I wonder if it's just failed. So I actually do have this other starter. This is actually the other starter. I'm not going to use the main body because I know the other one, when it works fine. But this solenoid was bolted onto it. Everything actually looks really good. The little disc in there looks great. And so what I've done, see here, this is the one that was in the car. I don't know if you can see this square stud here. It's worn quite a bit. I don't know how well it'll pick it up. It's worn quite a bit on the edge where the disc spins. But the other cap, it's barely worn at all. It looks like it is, but when you actually run your finger on it, it's not really that worn at all. So I'm going to switch these. It might just give it a little bit more life. I'm going to put, what I'm going to do, the reason I'm not using this cap is because this one's actually got an extra hole punched in it for an extra stud labeled R. Now I don't know what it's for, but it did have a black wire going to it. So I have to retain, it's a little complicated, but I have to retain the original cap from this solenoid, put it back on this one with that extra pin, and I'm switching the big studs for one that's better. So that's where I'm at with the starter. Hopefully all this actually works. We'll see. I don't have my hopes high, but it's worth a shot. Alright, I got that starter back in. That was kind of a pain getting it hooked back up. You can't, the wires won't reach, so you can hook it up on the ground. You know, laying on the ground. You gotta basically put the starter in and then try and squeeze your hands up there. I also discovered there's water dripping underneath, and it looks like it's dripping off the front engine mount, which is down below the balancer down there, so it might be the water pump leaking. I'm not sure. I actually thought it was one of the bolts for the in the exhaust. Maybe it hadn't been, maybe it was a bit loose still, but actually now that I'm looking, I can see water on top of the, down there, way down on top of this, behind the pulley I can see water. So maybe I'll just check the water pump. Maybe it just needs to be tightened down a little bit. Not sure. I might have to take the pulley off. And I also messed with the transmission linkage. It needed to be adjusted from the shifter because it wasn't actually going into neutral. I realized it would go all the way over into reverse, but neutral, it was like still in drive. It was out of alignment. So let's just see. Look at that. Starter works. That's awesome. That was super quick. That was way, way better than it was. I didn't even pump the gas. That's crazy. So it is running. I don't know if the generator's charging, but I just took the battery back up, so I probably still have to polarize it. So and the way you polarize it, I usually do with the engine not running. Well, that's good news about my starter. So you turn the ignition on, and you come out here, and you take a jumper wire, like this, and you want to go from the battery terminal to the field terminal, which is on this, in this case, it's the first two here, and you're going to touch them together, and they're going to spark, so don't be too freaked out, but see how that sparked there? You can actually hear it pulling on the contact inside here. But that's supposed to polarize the generator with the regulator, because basically what it does is always holds a little charge. That's how generators work, so that when it's running, higher RPMs, it's charging the battery. Now the downside to a generator is low RPMs, like idle, it doesn't really charge the battery. But I doubt that that actually worked. I don't know that that generator works. I came in a pile of parts I had. Let's try this again here. Yeah, see, it's according to that gauge, it's not charging. Right, so I took the belts off and pulled the fan off, and yeah, all the bolts on the water pump were loose. That may just be because I've been running it, they've been heating up, they loosened off a little bit. So I'm not going to blame anybody, but yeah, that's that. I tightened them up. I don't know if it's still dripping. I haven't looked underneath, but hopefully not. So this is a Chrysler alternator. This is a dual field. And I know you guys are going, well, why don't you just put a GM one in? Well, I don't have any here, and I had a bunch of these upstairs. So that's what I'm going to use. All alternators are basically the same principle. You don't need to use a GM alternator in a GM car. I mean, it's all they need is a field and an excited wire that's 12 volt switch. So when I come over here, I took the regulator out already, but this guy, this red one here, was the battery. It said battery on the regulator, so that's my switched ignition. This middle wire went to the armature. This one here went to the armature on the generator. Well, it tones out to be this big brown one, which would be perfect to be the charge wire back to the battery if I wanted. And then I've got the small wire here. This is a field wire. It tones out down here. It's that green one. That's the field wire. So I've got one field wire, the small one. I could use this, since it's bigger, for the charge wire. This just basically goes straight back to probably the starter relay. And I just have to add a field wire. And when you add that field wire, you just go straight to the the regulator. But this field wire I can splice with the hot, and this would be my exciter. So hopefully that made sense. It almost didn't make sense to me. I started rambling a little bit, but hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So pretty straightforward. I actually didn't do anything exciting for mounting that. I didn't make anything, no brackets or anything. I just used a long bolt on one side and a short bolt on the other. I did take the bracket off. It comes off the exhaust manifold, so I just drilled out the ends. They used to be threaded. I just drilled them out bigger for a bolt. But yeah, so I'll get this wired up, and hopefully we've got a charging system. Okay, it's all wired. So I ran a field wire and figured out this end. Just added, here's my field wire. Added it, ran it across the front. Not the prettiest thing, but nothing under here really is. Got a couple butt splices, but we're charging, so that's excellent news. I'm going to let it run for a while and charge this battery. I probably turn the idle down a little bit. It starts right away now. That starter's happier. So, a couple good things. Got it charging. Got the starter fixed, but I still have zero brake pedal. And I already adjusted all four corners, so the drums are just touching the shoes. And I still got no brake pedal. So I'm going to try one more thing, which there's an adjusting nut on the rod to the master cylinder. I'm going to try and adjust it in a little further. Maybe the pedal isn't where it's supposed to be sitting, but because it does get a little tiny bit firm when you get all the way down to the floor. So maybe I just need to adjust it in. I'm going to try that. But if that doesn't work, then I think what I'm going to do is probably bolt the seat down and put this thing up for sale, because it's a neat car, but I do not want to be dumping $400, $500 into a reman master cylinder on eBay because you can't find anything else. So, but that's good progress so far. All right, I vacuumed out the floors. They're actually really solid. A couple spots. The corner here where it meets is a little crusty, but they're really nice. The front, same situation. The passenger side's got a few pinholes, but nothing too serious. I mean, when we're comparing to that 58 Plymouth wagon that I put together, that thing had 0 floors, and then the rockers were all rotted, and then the inner structure was all rotted. So this thing's pretty immaculate for its age. There's that clock just ticking away. That's awesome. But yeah, I put the glove box liner in. I took that radio out of there, but just a glove box liner so I can put the paperwork and stuff in there. And I just wiped down the dash. It was just covered in junk. So I tried to adjust the master cylinder, and it ain't happening. So that's as good as the pedal gets. I am assuming that master is just bad. So that's too bad. I would love to take this thing for a test drive before I list it for sale, but I don't think that's going to happen. I put this brace back in. I put the horns back in. They're not wired. They're just bolted in. My alternator is working. This air cleaner is an old Chrysler one, but the base plate fits that small carb opening, like an old Carter carb, same idea. So I just sprayed it silver. It sort of matches the rest of the car, I think. Well, it's been a couple weeks since I've really done much work on the Olds here. So I put it up for sale for $3,500, which I keep getting people telling me that's crazy underpriced, but I'm just trying to be fair. It's got no brakes. The starter works fine. The battery charges. The car does run pretty well. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's got maybe a collapsed lifter. They are hydraulic lifters, and so there is a ticking, and it's got a bit of a miss. So one of the valves may not be opening fully, or something's going on. But aside from that, it does run great. Starts every time. But I did have some guys come and look. I put it up for sale on Marketplace for $3,500, and I had probably maybe 10 people come look. And most of them were just, you know, typical time wasters, had no money, wanted it for like $500. But this guy came and he said he wanted it just for the engine, for a 55 Olds that he has. And him and his buddy came, and they were crawling all over the whole thing and having it. They probably ran it for half an hour, and then his buddy goes, "Well, can I just rev it up just a little bit? I just want to hear if I can figure out that ticking." And he just ripped on it, like he probably hit $4,000. And it just finally was like, "Whoa, okay, enough's enough, man." I said, it's broken in. I broke the cam and lifters in, but it's got no drive time. Don't be revving it up to $4,000. I mean, the first 300-400 miles on a rebuilt engine, you just want to drive it normal, you know, drive it around, drive it normal. Don't be ripping on it, beating the crap out of it. So I wasn't very impressed with that, but, you know, that's the typical way, right? If it's not yours, then who cares? But with that being said, I don't know what has happened to the carb that's on it. I don't know if the float sunk or the needle and seat are just not working, but it basically just constantly floods itself out. So, yeah, I'll probably sell it with another carb to go with it. But anyways, I'm going to wrap the video up here. If anybody's interested in this 55 Oldsmobile, I'm asking $3,500. I think that is more than fair. The body is very solid. You guys saw the floors. You guys saw underneath if you watched the first video. I mean, the frame is really nice. It's in good shape. I'm not lying here. I'm not covering anything up. You guys have seen all over this thing. So $3,500 takes it. And the parts car, which is loaded full of good parts. Same engine, 324 4-barrel, same Hydramatic transmission. It's got that desirable rear end. I think it's a 9 1/4. Looks like a Ford 9-inch with the pumpkin, but it's just a little bigger. It's got all kinds of trim. It's the identical car for the trim. It's got extra tail lights. Trunk lid's good. It's got the proper trunk emblem. That one on the other one, I think, is actually a 56. Extra fuel pumps, extra interior parts. I mean, if you were to buy the other one, I mean, if it was me, you know, when I was looking for one of these, I would buy the parts car, which is pretty much what I did, right? So, just all kinds of stuff in here. It's just loaded with parts. So, yeah, the parts car I'd like $1,000 for. That's what I paid for it, so I just like that money back out of it. So, between the two for $4,500, you could make one really nice cruiser. Or just take this one. Don't matter to me. But I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. So, thanks so much for watching. Thanks to everybody who's subscribed so far. And thanks to everyone who's even commenting, good or bad comments. They're all encouraged and welcome. So, any feedback is good feedback. So, thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next one.